I'd like to introduce the shamisen. This is the instrument I studied for 30 years in Japan. And it actually, like most other Japanese traditional instruments, came from China. But in Japan, they added their own preferences to it, including making it bigger than most on the Chinese mainland. And this particular genre that I studied is music for Kabuki. So the instrument is designed to have a bright sound that will carry well in the Kabuki theater. So we have a kind of rounded square body that's hollow, and it's got leather on the back and the front, a little bit like a banjo in that respect. And there's 3 strings. Shamisen actually means 3 flavor strings, because string number 1, which is the top one as you look at it, is the thickest one. String number 2 in the middle, whoops, is a little bit thicker, and then string number 3, which is the bottom from your point of view, is the thinnest of the 3. And the playing, this kind of a plectrum is used. The Japanese word is bachi, but the English musicological word is plectrum. And I use one of the points of this to play the strings. And the basic strokes are a downstroke and an upstroke and left hand pizzicato. So I'm going to start off with a piece that uses kind of improvised patterns that were played originally on the Kabuki stage while a dancer might be off in the wings changing costumes or something, and the shamisen player would improvise and look into the wings to see, are you ready yet? But then that kind of pattern was put into this piece as the front bookend, and the interlude depicts the river up in the mountains, the Tama River, in the Chichibu Mountains of Japan. And the river is winding through rocks and rapids, and there's mountains all around, and wind and deep shadows. And then the down bookend of the piece is a reprise of the first improvisational pattern. Oh. Now I'm going to slow things down a little bit. This goes a little bit further back in the repertoire to about 1764. And the shamisen players didn't play such flashy patterns in those days. And this is an example of a dance that expresses the psychology of the psychological state of the character portrayed by the dancer. In this case, it's a woman of the floating world, maybe a retired geisha or somebody who devoted her life to the performing arts rather than getting married and having a family. They were very separate in those days. And she wakes up in the middle of the night because she hears the bell of the neighboring temple. And when she wakes up, she sees the ground is covered with snow. So the beginning bookend of this piece is kuro kami, which means black hair. And it's a symbol of the beauty of Japanese women. And her lover has not been faithful to her, and now she's alone. And at the end of the piece, the downside bookend is shirayuki, which means white snow. So from black hair to white snow, you wake up and realize snow is covering the ground, and then she also realizes her black hair has turned white. Kuro kami no musu So in this piece, the shamisen tries to imitate the music of the Imperial court, which dates back to the 10th century. And actually, nobody really knew what it sounded like except the emperor and his court. So they just tried to imitate it by using a lot of strings played at the same time, which they thought made it sound like that. And then this piece also incorporates some melodies from a famous koto piece. Yeah. Yo. For the last piece, I'm going to call on Haruko-san to help out. And she's going to play the Kagebayashi, which is a sound effects room, which is off stage in the Kabuki theater. Why don't you go and prepare? So the piece we're going to do, well, first to explain about the Kagebayashi. You know, when the Kabuki theater has a snow scene, you might well expect them to use the paper cut confetti to make the snow. And in fact, in Osaka, the confetti are triangular. And in the Tokyo region, they're square. Did you know that? Bet you didn't. So when they're doing a snow scene, they thought, well, we've got the snow coming down, but can we just do something else to make it a little bit more impressive? So I want you now to close your eyes and imagine you're outside and snow is gently falling, and this is what you hear. So the sound continues like snowfall, and it kind of reminds me of stepping out into a heavily snowy area, and the sound is kind of muffled. So the next piece uses this effect as well as the temple bell. So the piece we're going to do is structured kind of like a hand scroll, where you have a picture painted on the scroll and you roll the scroll with your hands, and another picture comes into view, and you can look at a series of pictures like that, a precursor of the slideshow. And I'm going to select two scenes. The first one is the hustle and bustle of the year-end market in Tokyo. So right before New Year's, which is a really big holiday, 3 days off, nothing is open. So everybody has to buy all of their supplies and food and everything else in a very bustling market where the vendors are yelling advertisements and people are bumping into each other and buyers are haggling on the price. And then you step a few feet away and you're in the grounds of a temple. It's dark and the snow is falling. You might see the pagoda there. And the shamisen portrays the sound of falling snow.